Welcome back to another Plan Explain. Table 2K, 2 tables 1K. I'm going to try to be more detailed. Okay, first spot of the day. It's a rainbow board. I think you could play overbet here. I think this hand with the Queen of Clubs checking EV. By that I mean my opponent's more likely to have these like Queen 6 types hand. But if I do play a big bet strategy. But rolling a 2, there's no way it's a pure overbet. I think I would need a high number there to consider betting Queen King Queen. I think opponent has to float some King Queen. 5 where it's a little connected, but I think we have to mainly float this. Could actually check raise on a super high number, but I don't expect him to stab too much ace high. I don't think we really. And actually, I'm bluffing a lot actually. Well, 19. I doubt it's pure. I have a feeling he's gonna stab a lot of bottom pair. I do view A as a strong range. I don't know if that will be bluff catching these hands at a high frequency. Like if I do believe that. I think bad ace here with a ace, but maybe it's a spot where ace 6 just wants to, especially if we're betting 1/3 here. Ace of hearts, you could definitely make a case. Probably gotta fold a lot of his ace 6 there. Probably not too much suited. I had like ace 3. Ace 6, for example, I'm gonna block hands like 8-6 suited. Some people defend 8-6 off. If I'm in his shoes, I like okay on the rainbow version. Just for me to do a call here. That depends how wide is c-bet. The better hands. The way I play this is pretty. I play this hand is the way I should play it. I was just about to say I match up well versus the 3x that is probably gonna check river, but I don't know what bet check bets are. I mean, obviously we're just checking. Maybe range betting the flop, but if he's not range betting. Now I think I just perform really bad versus a reopening range, so I'd rather half pot and just hope he stations. Okay, here is an interesting spot. I think we just clearly play 1/3. I think most of the times weaker 10x with the BFD is just gonna check at a really high frequency. If I roll a 100, I could maybe see it betting like between 20 to 10% of the time. That call. That is interesting. I think here I would expect him to size up. 6 kind of locks bluffs. I'd probably rather call like 10-7. Try to focus on unblockers. Obviously we have a lot of strong 10x. I still think we most of the time have to call here, but Doesn't have a lot of bluffs. Card. Just queen jack. King 8. Okay, so he is over bluffing the spot. No diamond, we struggle in bigger pots, so this spot really depends on if your opponent's playing a leading range or not. We're not gonna have any 7-5 suited, I believe, and he's going to want to proceed with caution. Most of the time, I'm just gonna overcheck back because I think people, unless I know for a fact my opponent plays a leading range, that he doesn't play any leads, I know I'm supposed to check back this a shit ton. So I kind of. Okay, this is obviously way too, like super wide. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I see. I don't know. This just. I don't do what I just did. But for him to check, he blocks both. A lot of checkbacks. Well, actually, not so much. Kind of might have given off a timing tell. But I don't have a club, so I don't know if I can really exploit. It just seemed like an ace high hand. Try to see if there was a timing tell there. Like there wasn't. I was wrong. Probably the most relatable thing I'm gonna do in a video. Hate to see it. We just lose the queen jack or what? Queen 2. He had the nuts and he was actually thinking about raising, which is kind of what I was thinking on the turn. When he tanks twice, about folding, he was thinking about raising. But he did tank longer than. Yeah, I rolled like a 90, so we're gonna 3-bet this. I'm mad at myself for opening this thing's so wide. But I think my actions are okay. That point onward. I mean, it's definitely overdoing it on the turn. But I don't mind the read. I think sometimes in poker, when you do have a read, you should just go with it. Obviously, in this case, the read was wrong. But gotta be like somewhat capable. I'm usually someone who doesn't commit to stuff like this, and I kind of kick myself for it, so I don't mind this. I think in theory, if you had this hand, which you shouldn't even have it, which it's, let's be real, it's losing one big blind or two. Like it could be making money if he doesn't 3-bet enough. But obviously it's not good. But the five's probably not the best card. Maybe actually, simply you would want the 5 of clubs here probably, just because I think 5-4 is gonna start folding on the turn, and this is like mixing I think. Or 5-4 starts folding on the turn, so you'd want the 5 of clubs because you don't want to. The 5 of clubs is obviously not gonna fold. Like if he has a suited 5x, which all his 5x should be suited. 5-4 of clubs isn't gonna fold. Ace 5 of clubs isn't gonna fold. But ace 5 of spades could fold. Ace 5-4 of club spades could fold. So I think it would matter more than the king suit actually, if you were going to bet that hand. That's just a heuristic. But obviously this hand's a punt. But I'm gonna post it because I'm human. But it's late. I'm trying to get a video up for you guys. And I like the decision not to bluff the river. It just smelled bad. I think this like will mix. I don't know if on a 76. I think the number might need to be higher. Could be like that. Could just be the exact number, but recording for 9 minutes. I'm trying to probably record 2 videos of the session because I'm going away for a sec, and I just want to make sure I got 2 videos for you guys. But anyway, the studying portion is what a lot of you guys care about. So he's gonna range bet here, and I'm trying to think if we should fold an ace ever. And I think if we do fold one, if he's range betting, he's gonna be betting. He has to bet hands like ace 5 in there. So no reason. Oh, so no reason to fold ace 8. Okay. Yeah, and I think we clearly just check and evaluate. I will say I think the 8 is gonna block a lot of his river bluffs, so I don't think I want to bluff catch this. Because hands like queen 10, 10, 9 are gonna very often barrel turn. Like a lot of his give ups are gonna come from hands like. Being said, this line makes legitimately no sense, so I might just call and just to see what he has. Because I think it's really easy to overbluff this line. Like if you're not going thin for value, you have to chop a lot of queen X, king X, so I'm just gonna see. And he did. Well played him. Obviously, he just has a king. But the only reason I called there is because I thought there was a chance he could be over bluffing, which we still don't know. But I guess it's easy to check a lot of king X, even though my blocker I don't think is very good because I think the eight of clubs is going to be very, very overrepresented in his bet check bet. But I just had a feeling my opponent could be over bluffing, so I decided to call, even though I don't think it's a call in theory. Because sometimes people get this wrong. They'll think bluffs are queen 10 to 9, but I think like 8 9 if he's range betting in the flop of clubs, or like any 8 of clubs hand, is not going to bet turn, and like as a bluff. So but they're gonna bluff river a lot of the time. On a low number, I'm just gonna call this in. Right here he raises me. I think we just want to call. I could have considered checking back flop, and I didn't. I'm playing too many. And I think now we just clearly call. We're just gonna get dominated by more if we shove. And I think 10-8 is like the weakest 8x we're gonna have. Obviously we beat 9-8, but I don't think we even want to raise here. I think I'm gonna have 10-8 off. I'd rather. I mean, not having a club is like somewhat decent, probably. We could lead on this card because we have 7-6 offsuit and he shouldn't have it. And also like our calling range really does hit this card. So if I roll a high enough number, I don't know if 69's high enough though. He's range betting, I will. Call here. The horrible run out. Obviously. I think my hand is like a really bad check raise. Because I'm just gonna be dominated a lot. I think I'm just gonna overbet. Obviously I have a decent bluff catcher. But yeah, I think we go big enough. We're gonna have more 8x as played still. I think he's gonna raise some of his stronger 8x on the turn, in theory. Pretty easy to have bluffs. I mean, we're gonna be floating a lot versus 1/3 on the flop, especially when the run out comes good. So we can have as many bluffs as we need to make to match our value. Like almost never 3-betting. 1/3 here from my opponent. Not super thrilled with the way I play it, but I think that's like poker. Definitely gonna be leading. Actually, the queen blocking the checkbacks, kinda nice. That being said, I think we'll just lead. Low, and I think you want to mix here. Like I don't think you want to lead everything. Wow, he raises. I think we just get it in. I think this raise is like very strong. Really easy for us to still bluff. I mean, we can have a lot of stuff drawing to like a royal or something, so. Could easily have a hand like ace jack. Sucks he folded. But the reason I raise here is I really did think he wasn't gonna fold. So I expect once I call to see a lot of checkbacks. And I was hoping if he had a hand like ace 10 of hearts or ace jack, he would just get the money in. So even though in that spot I might have lost money, pretty happy with it. I think I don't block his main calling range. Maybe he had a hand like ace king. And I guess the 10 maybe. But I don't block a straight, which is kind of nice. Obviously you don't want to raise all boats. I think like king 10. Third, I don't think we do anything here. If I raise, I'm raising like super polar, and like obviously nines is like no going in that range. We can look at the spot together though. I don't know what my bluffs would be. Like obviously like ace x of diamonds and ace x of spades, pretty easy. I think queen x of spades is very good here too. Like a hand like queen 5 of spades or queen jack of spades even, because I'm not gonna I have queen 10, I'm gonna have queen jack. So queen jack of spades trying to a royal. blocking queens, obviously, because I think queens is a really good, like his strongest hand that he could raise here. That makes like sense to raise, probably. I was really hoping he'd like ace 10 or a hand that beat ace 10 and just called, let the money in. I was really expecting like his bluff to check back river anyway once I called. Yeah, he is not like usually super aggressive. So that's the reward of playing a certain style is I kind of perceived him to just have it there and he didn't. So because these players aren't that bad. Like even if you ever read that maybe they're a little on the tighter side, I mean, they're still gonna have their bluffs and stuff, so. Right here. I think bottom set can check more. We block more checkbacks. I think queens would bet pure. And I think I'm just gonna go with the 1/3. Actually, I would probably size up here. But even though sizing up, I mean, I'm just gonna check. I know it's probably mixing, even with the bigger size, but I just prefer to check it right now because I don't know what the size I'd honestly play on this flop is. So I'd rather just check because I know it'll check at a frequency, if that makes sense. And check raising is something else. On a high number, I'll just probably check some ace queen and stuff like this. On a high number, probably want to raise bigger. Actually, the dynamic we have going on here, I'm just gonna call. I've been check calling a lot of middling stuff. So, in one session. And obviously blocking. Oh, actually, I don't really block reopens here, do I? I think this is actually good for a block. I think he would value bet strong 9x on the river. Obviously. Okay, what would our bluffs here be? Probably just random 9x of hearts. Blocking a hand like queen 9. Would I block? I don't know if I would block 6-9 for value is the issue. I mean, you probably would be blocking him like 6-9 to do this. Maybe if you blocked a weak queen, like queen deuce. I think that would actually be the best, like you're weaker. He jams them, he's probably just aces every time, but out of position, I think we want to play 2-street a lot of the time. Because we have such a, when you cold for, you really do see bet a lot, because we have such a polarized range. Already. So all your bluffs kind of just like, he snaps here, it's just aces, I'm pretty sure. Snapping. Oh. No way, this guy disconnected. I have the disconnected beat. And we're gonna size down. What is he wall hacking me? Like what's going on? This is insane. Imagine he disconnected and he comes back with queen 4. That's the YouTube short right here. I was gonna make a bad joke, but I won't make a joke like this. This is unreal. Your opponent DCs when you have the nuts. Just come back and call me. There's no way he's gonna bluff catch me like this. Imagine I was bluffing here. This would be the worst beat. Bro, he definitely has a queen. He was definitely gonna call me. Like, this is so sick. Alright, well at least this is peak content for you guys. When you watch this Ray Ray, you got so lucky, bro. You don't even know. There's no way he makes it back in the next 10 seconds. Oh, that's so sick. Alright, let's chew I think I leave now. My friend wants me to play him heads up. But just for the video, I'll play him heads up. Just for fun. I don't really play heads up anymore, so. I'm gonna play 2 tables of heads up. I'm recording for 20 minutes, so you guys are gonna get 10 minutes of heads up content. I hope you guys enjoy it. Back? I'm sure he'll be back, and then on the next video I'll be recording. I can't believe that beat though. I had the nuts, like, there's no way he was gonna fold. That's obviously a check. I'm not very good at heads up right now, so. Yeah. But I'll try to focus more on the 6 max spots. Back, yeah. No, I guess oh, he's back. Big bet, just gonna fold this. Jack 6, I think it's like slight mix. It starts at Jack 7, I'm pretty sure if I remember. Maybe this is scuffed. And is a call. Perfect. Opponent's supposed to play B75 or check here. Super connected board. I think you can raise this sometimes. Not having the 5 of spades is probably worse to raise. Actually, we're probably just on block calls actually. So it's probably just like a better raise. I think generally you don't want to raise sets, but like on triple connected, I don't really mind just raising. There's so many action killing cards, so. I can't believe it. Like this guy needs to E-transfer me 2k. Okay, he's back. If I wasn't recording, I probably wouldn't have shown my hand there. And then we're gonna have 6 tables for the last little bit. Let's see what he folded for the video. Let's see if I can find out for you guys. I hope this video is entertaining, man. Every video, it's like this is the worst. Oh, I hate showing notes. Testing. So I'll have to edit it out. 7. They did have trips. I knew he'd have a middling queen. Just simply due to the fact that he checked back turn. I don't think he checks back turn with a strong queen. I feel like I feel like he knows I know that, so I don't know. Obviously, you'd rather have the queen of hearts. I think you'd block more 2 pair. I guess it depends because I think let's go look back and look at the spot. If queen 7 is a good call here. I redid the table, so I can't really. I think B33 here is like little tempting. It's like super mergy. People call me. People don't fold versus me. Like they just don't. Like, it's true. Like they don't. Like he was gonna call. I think I'm so sick. Like oh okay on 100 here. I think this actually is a good min click. I think the 8x doesn't really block his folds because I don't think he 3-bets too much 8x out of the small. So for that reason, like you'd rather have this almost than I think prefer, not maybe not prefer than ace-5. Just do on a 99. You know what? Let's just call it. I know like most, I might even like pure call. Could reopen here. I think top pair can. Here we can do a little bit of both. I'm just gonna call the weakest flush that I got, simply because there's gonna be a lot of bad runouts for it. If I raise flop and get called, it seems like I want to fast play, get the money in quick, but if I raise and get called, I'm pretty sure this hand is just always losing. Okay, sevens and sixes call. He doesn't block. Here we're just gonna check, and here I don't mind all in. We have too much offsuit ace-x, so maybe it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna check back here. Bluff river actually. Because he knows I'm recording too. That's a whatever. I'm just gonna tank jam. It's not the play, but when I was tanking that long, I just felt like jam was the only like option that looked like it could be a bluff. Blocks. I think I'm gonna jam it here. I think I block pocket eights, and I don't want to call. I think in theory my hand's a call. The issue with calling this hand in theory is and I think I don't want to fold because this is like the best bluff if I don't call it. I don't like. Am I really getting bluff caught here? Is it like what could he have? I block pocket eights, so for that reason I'd rather just call. I'd rather just bluff this because he could have pocket eights. I block ace king for what it's worth. The ace is good. I don't think heuristically it makes any sense for him to block this spot. By the way, like the DC saved me. So the DC costed me money is what I'm getting at. Anyway, he overbets here. I think this hand mixes already versus an overbet. Not having a heart. I would say maybe not having the six of spades is probably higher EV. 78 will call. I don't think we're folding too much ace-x on the flop. That's so sick that he DC'd. Here on an 84, we're gonna 3-bet it, or cold 4, sorry. Now my 6 just blocks bluffs. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense for a villain to block here. I feel like he's trying to like angle something. But, wait, where is the ace of spades? Here, I think you just want to fast play. Our value, it's really hard for our value to miss. Question is, would I rather take a hand like king jack or nines with a spade? I feel like king queen's in this weird category. That being said, I don't think we ever want to check here. Our whole range hits this board. So I'm just gonna B25. Even though like, and I think in a normal 4-bet spot, you could actually, on a 3-bet pot, this board wouldn't be that good, but like, it's impossible. Like you just don't, I don't have any misses here. So it doesn't make any sense to not range bet. Or at least split. Just like I said, when you cold 4, you're way more polar. You're not gonna have, like, that's my bluff when I cold 4. Like that's the worst hand I cold 4, really. Maybe some ace-x that you could qualify it as worse, but that's gonna be the worst hand I 4-bet. Like when you just 4-bet, like for example, if I 3-bet from the small blind, like UTG, I'm gonna have offsuit hands. I'm gonna have stuff like, I'm not gonna have any offsuit outside of ace king. I'm not gonna 4-bet ace king off there, or ace queen off. Maybe from those positions a little bit, but I don't even think so. Right here, ace of spades is probably not good for ace jack. I think ace jack most of the time just wants to check. It's like the equity bucket is just not good in this spot to be either. And I think you could make a case for raising, but we're just gonna fold. Sick that he DCs. Yeah, I don't know why my opponent was blocking there. I mean, the king just smashes my range. It's almost impossible for him to defend, let alone get value. All right, I think we just run it. I don't love it versus recreational. whatever. It's gonna be ace queen. It's gonna be stuff, but like I don't think calling makes more sense. Alright, we're going on 30 minutes, and I'm gonna end the video now. It's just so I can record another. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned to the review because I'm gonna be doing another deep dive, maybe either on 1 or 2 spots here. Probably take a look at that pocket nines hand. I think that was pretty interesting, and just to see if you should be calling queen seven of clubs there, since we know what he did have. It'll make it more interesting. But I think thank you guys, and plus blind versus blind is probably the thing I would benefit the most from helping you guys with. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Right, on to the study portion of the video. I'm kind of in a bummed out mood because I recorded another video after that, just to find out the webcam was blocking the other table, so I don't think I'm gonna bother posting it. So, sorry about the maybe it's probably annoying to watch the video back, but I think most of the video I didn't have it blocking it, so I think it's okay to post. But the other video was pretty fun. Crazy bluffs I got called by backs, but I was kind of tilting a bit, so there's also that. I wasn't really tilting, but just trying to make it sound interesting. Alright, going on to the main hand where my opponent DC'd, and I'm gonna go over to the flop. We're gonna do a deep dive on the flop, and then we're just gonna run to see how the hand plays out quickly. Link in the description for the software I'm using for 10% off. I'm trying to get to bed. As you can see, it's what time is it right now? 4:01 in the morning. But I just want to make sure I get a video for you guys. I don't know when this is gonna come out, but yeah. So anyway, as you guys know, I like to start with the strongest value. So we're just gonna go up here. Even talk about the sizing on the flop. It likes to be a big spot. And if you look, let's just make it rainbow because we can. Quickly, you're gonna see. I imagine it will size down now. Usually, if you want to play the big bet strategy, you are going to be doing it on rainbow textures, unless it's like an ace high board, where it's usually inverted that way, but other boards, because you're really leveraging your advantage with aces and kings and ace queen, which kind of, the equity doesn't really make sense. Oh, it does. I guess this board it specifically lines up, because I know if I do this, it like doesn't do that. I think queen 9-6, I guess there's must be enough draws. Anyways, that's interesting. We just learned something together. Or maybe it just bugs out. Sometimes it won't change the sizings when you like slightly change the spot. Okay. The class in typical me fashion, we're a minute into the video and we haven't even started learning the hand yet. But we're talking about the sizing on the flop, which I think is relevant. Okay, so yeah. But that being said, I imagine if you wanted to play a big bet on this board, I'm not gonna waste more of your guys' time. But I imagine you wouldn't lose that much EV because there's no way that makes any sense that you would decrease 7. So it shows you could really play multiple strategies. I do think on the rainbow though, it's noticeably better. There's probably some boards where you could do it with the two-tone, but I like to keep it simple so I can actually remember it while I'm playing. But we're gonna go to the strongest, and I've already reviewed these spots for you guys on the flop, so I can hopefully give you guys a quick explanation. Okay, and you can see sets here over betting pure. The reason why, or sorry, sets over pairs, kings and aces, or aces is kind of mixes. It's weird. I just ran it, and aces was betting pure, and diamonds was checking. You can see like the bad suit, which is the diamond here, checks a little more often. In my case, it was checking more often, but and ace queen. And the reason for this is actually pretty simple, which is your opponent is going to want to bluff a lot of these good ace-x suits into you when you check. So for that reason, you actually gain some EV. But if this isn't happening in game, I would probably just go ahead and bet these hands. Quickly, I guess we will just do it. We'll see. Ace 9 with a backdoor flush draw likes to go for value. This is just to be balanced. That's why it bets this ace 9. It bets this and then checks this. And then some ace 7. You're not betting the one suit you're not betting. So you're gonna get this EV more. But if your opponents aren't taker, then you probably don't gain that EV. So, but that's just the reason why. Which is why king queen. Well, king queen was betting more. But in general, I would probably just mix the king queen. The reason why king queen is less important is for multiple streets, you're going to just overall gain less value. Because your opponent can actually have king queen. So as the range gets narrow and narrow and narrower, which is usually what happens when you big bet, big bet, big bet, you fold out. Your opponent folds more and more and more, and by the time you get to the river, like I'm sure you guys know the math on like I don't know the math at the top of my head, but how little you have to call by the time you get to the river. Um, Obviously, king queen, your opponent actually having a combo, whereas ace queen, your opponent doesn't. Not to, yeah. So, and outside of that, queen jack's the only real other hand. So there's some queen ten. The reason why you want the queen of diamonds is when you have the queen of diamonds. Go here. I'm sure your opponent sometimes folding some of these queen of diamonds hands, and especially on the turn. Like if the turn is a two of hearts, right? Queen five of hearts has to pure call or something like this. So queen 10 actually can gain a little bit more EV. From what's it called? Your opponent having to call you with two streets with a bad queen. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make as much sense because maybe your opponent doesn't, but like maybe you don't bet queen 10 on a two of hearts anyway. So it doesn't maybe that's not even the full reason. I don't fully know the swap, but that it's not really betting at a super high frequency. And then outside of that, sets like the check. I was actually writing game. This is like a pure check. So good job me. Yeah, 9 with a heart betting more because you're gonna get called more often because the suited 9x is gonna have to call you for a really big size. If you go really big and you double block the suited 9x, it's just not gonna make as much money. That being said, the EV is very minimal, but yeah. And yeah, two pair. It's like your main bet. Likes betting most of the time. Likes the front load its value because two pair usually gets counterfeited on the turn. There's gonna be a lot of turns where you just can't get the amount of value you're gonna get. With sets, you can get it later. Queen 9 is not gonna be able to play for like a fast 2-3 gain on most turn cards. Like on a 5, can it really do it that effectively? On a 6, on a 7, on a 10, obviously not. On a jack. So that's why the top two here, that's really vulnerable. If he puts 10.5 big blinds in on the flop, it's a lot easier to get all the money in with two pair. There are sets that doesn't matter as much, but yeah. And we're gonna go to the merge hands now. Quickly, the merge hands are super boring on these polar cards. Um, as you can probably assume. The only hands, it actually changed the sim a bit. Like we were betting more some a6. Usually the 6 of diamonds is okay here because you're gonna get floated by these 6x suited hands, but it's actually fully the case here, but a little bit, as you can see. Break even where this loses. But yeah, overall your only merge hands really are going to be suited like 6x with backdoor flush draws, like 6-4, 6-5. And yeah. And then like some 9-8, and it had 9-7 preferred, but sometimes when you run sims on Wizard, they like will change from sim to sim. So a lot of my notes are kind of wasted, which is why like I think trying to be like perfectly accurate is a little bit of waste of time. You just write down these heuristics, and you literally run the sim again, and they change. So it just proves that like how little it probably matters in real life to focus on the stuff. But yeah. So I would say as a heuristic though, your weakest suited versions of your 6 and 9x can actually mix with the backdoor flush draw just for coverage, so you actually can hit the 9 sometimes and hit the 6. And it's also you're not necessarily exploitable because you're still going to have like no 6x, but it's mainly like these hands should gain a lot of EV from the fact that your opponent should be exploiting, like counter exploiting the fact that you have no 6x or have no 9x, if that makes sense. But yeah. As well as this is why you want the bad in a suit when you bet ace 9, which is mix, whereas you can see you would actually be losing a lot of EV if you had a good suit. And the reason why is like your opponent has 9-7 hearts, 9-7. They're gonna fold the non-backdoor flush draws, but they will call, and that way you can merge on them a little bit. So when a 9 comes, you can actually know they'll have it. And yeah, that's that. Back onto there's no flush on this board, so we're just gonna go to straight draws quick. And I couldn't really figure out his straight draw heuristic because it seemed like actually very very simple when I looked at it. It seems like you just don't want the high diamond kicker. Like it seems like you really are trying to look for fold equity. And the 7, was completely changed. Like if I pull up my Notion, which is what I used to take notes on, my 8-7 when I ran the sim does not look like this. This is more what I would think it looks like, where you prefer to have the 7x bad suit so you can fold out some other stuff. But yeah, but 8-7, all the low suited hands just want a backdoor flush draw, and I think this is like just a simple spot. I would mix your strong ones. You obviously check more strong suited straight draws because you can actually check call these hands, check raise them. Whereas these hands are too weak to check raise, check call, so they just want to front load, just pile, and generate the fold equity. But they're not going to do good into a range where they have to check call because they have no showdown value. Whereas king, queen, king, jack, they can check call, hit a king on the turn. You're chilling. You hit a jack, they bet a 9, like you're fine. So yeah, and now we're going to go into the air and then we're going to review the hand. Gotta do low pair too, and we just do this, I believe. So, oh my god, the node changed. Oh no, back to flush. Okay, no, it didn't. Okay, it had ace 10 here. I don't know if it had ace 10 for me, but I did not have an ace 10. Yeah, my ace 10 was pure checking, so I ran the hand again, and now it's betting, which is just annoying. But the main heuristic I saw was just these backdoor flush draw hands that are too weak to check call, but still have like enough EV. You just want to pile. Usually, you just always want to bet these really strong backdoor flush draw hands that can't check call. In spots where you can check call them though, be careful. You don't want to actually bet them pure because sometimes the strength is that they can't check call. Usually comes down to what your opponent's reopening size is. I'm sure if your opponent's reopening size was you expect him to go for a smaller size, then you can start check calling these hands. But if your opponent he should be playing a big bet on this board. Um, you're not going to be able to call ace 5 versus a big bet, so you need to bet it yourself to actually realize the EV of this hand. So that's about this. But the overall heuristic is you're trash, just checks. Don't overthink it. Even ace 10. I mean, ace 10's like, this wasn't even showing up for me, so I'm sure it's some coverage thing, but yeah. Um, so I'm not going to get into that because I don't have notes on it. And I mean, I'm assuming what you bet less with the diamond. Like, yeah, you probably just bet with good suits. I mean, that just makes some, yeah, merging it. But what's it called? Anyway, we're gonna get onto the review. It's interesting. King 5, King 4 checks. I'm assuming this for check raise purposes. It's just pure folding. Okay, maybe it just blocks more folds than these two. But yeah, no raising with the air region. It's only going in equity region, and we're gonna go into the check node anyway. What did my opponent reopen for? I believe he reopened like half. He reopened small here, which is obviously just a mistake. But you know what? We're gonna. The issue is it changes the whole sim, because this is what my range actually probably looks like. And if I change it to B33, it's gonna change the entire range, and I just don't feel like doing this. I know there's a way I can no lock it, but we're just gonna run it as a B75, because I said so. Okay. And turn is the 4 of clubs, if I remember correctly, and my opponent had Queen 7 of clubs. And I figured you were just mixing here with 9s. As you can see here, all that ace queen you checked. Actually, believe it or not, the ace of diamonds ones, I think it's because you unblock the bluffs. Likes to just call. But I don't know if this heuristics as true in game. Same with the aces. This is why it's important you mix, so you actually just have it. If you realize like a lot of um, your check raise hands will come from the hands you were supposed to mix on the flop, but yeah. Anyway, we're not even at the river yet, and I'm 12 minutes in, but a lot of you said you loved the portion last time, so I'm trying to do it longer. And yeah. On the turn here, you can see the 4 is a pretty solid card. Betting half the time. Queen 7 of clubs, does mix. People just don't find this in game, they check back too much. Because it's like kind of a merge value. You're gonna get called by worse, then yeah, you just have to push your equity. But yeah, check. And what was the river? Like Queen of Hearts? I literally don't even remember what the river is. But it's not the Queen of Hearts, actually. Queen of Diamonds? Because I know I was thinking about a heart on blocking Queen 9. So we're gonna run it as this. And here we don't play a block at all. We actually just like to check. Exploitatively in game I blocked. I did have a feeling though that blocking didn't make sense, especially after looking back on it, because look, you can literally bet jacks and tens for a huge size. But exploitatively, I think versus opponent, like it's okay. But yeah, it was just definitely a spot where I'm just gonna overbet all the things I check called, and I'm just gonna find my checking range. And yeah, nines likes to check, but his opponent's supposed to be checking back these hands. But in the issue in reality, people just obviously the strong ones reopen. But so how do I do this? Because I obviously want to give myself a blocking range. But if I two size it, I might actually play some blocks with nines. Okay, I do. So it does make sense to have a blocking range. I just simplified. I recommend playing two sizes on the river. But okay. So I kinda was right, thank God. But I recommend playing two sizes on the river, simplifying flop, simplifying turn, but river you actually really just do lose a lot of E for splitting. And obviously it's the raise. So the spot is playing out pretty clean. So we jam. And let's see. Oh, I'm really curious what my bluffs were, because I couldn't think in game what I would bluff. This doesn't make any sense. Bluffs just come from like airball, 10-8. Yeah, you can't really turn pair into a bluff here, because it doesn't really do. Because we're like bluff catching the 9, but I don't really expect my opponent to chop any pair with a bluff on the turn. That being said, I'd probably rather 10-8. I guess like your opponent is repping queen 8. It's so weird because the reps so thin, and yeah, oh, he's just indifferent with everything outside of like queen 10. But it really comes down to what you expect. The bluffs here really come down to what you expect your opponent's turn checking range to be. If he's someone who's capable of like trapping a lot with like sets and stuff, then definitely blocking pairs matter more. If he's someone who's not, and he's only checking like weaker hands, and then he's raising. But that being said, like I kind of knew he had a queen, so I don't really care to block his queen X because I just know he has a queen. Like if I jam 10-8, because yeah, so I'd probably jam tighter and probably block 9x. I still like that versus tighter opponents, because people are just gonna under bluff into you. And yeah. That being said, though, I think you just have to just roll random shit here. It's gonna be really hard to figure out in game what the perfect combo is, and is it actually gonna be the perfect combo versus your opponent's range? Probably not. The main part is just hitting your frequency. It seems like the king and the 10x. I generally agree with that. Like just blocking the higher cards probably blocks his stronger queen x. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys like the deep dive review, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.